Is that right? I think we did beat the Fortress City Gym last time. I'm pretty sure. Also, welcome to the stream and this very low energy music. I've got a 10-hour playlist as usual with Ahead in Time because it's got this a fantastic soundtrack, but also some less fantastic things like the Final Fantasy IV soundtrack, which includes this song. Which starts horribly, but then becomes a little bit better, apparently. Anyway, so what are we going to go do? Gym 7 and 8 is what is on the menu today, in theory. I don't know if we're going to have all that done in practice, because there's also some story-related stuff. But I don't think we should be forced to do as much grinding as we did in the last couple of episodes. So, obviously Subpara is way over leveled, so we're not going to be leading with her at the moment. Let's lead with Insanity, just because it literally does not matter. I also started a little bit... Well, I didn't start late. I put out the notification on Discord a little late today, so it's probably going to take a hot minute here. It's probably going to take a hot minute here before people start joining the stream, but that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Remember last week when I said I probably... Oh, that's less than ideal. Remember last week when I said it's probably a good idea for me to start noting down topics to talk about? Especially since I'm doing Let's Play stuff. I'm going back into the more Let's Play series with the Kingdom Hearts 1 randomizer, obviously, right now. But still, I probably should have just a notepad document with topics to talk about for both series separately. Because some things, they're just more conducive to ranting about in a video, some things are more fun to discuss on stream, and some things you just don't talk about on the internet, which I still have to figure out what that last category actually is, because sometimes I can't seem to shut the fuck up. So, otherwise, every stream is just going to end up being me talking about YouTube and analytics and stuff like that, which is very interesting, but I feel like gets old very quickly from a viewer's perspective. So I'm going to attempt not to do that. Yeah, I'm kind of doing it right now, can you tell? Anyhow, I was talking, this is another topic that I've talked about a lot, but this is a different take on the same topic, and that is, I am old. I'm 25, I'm not that old, but it's real weird to be of an age where you think back about 10 years ago. Where you think back about 10 years ago, I imagine, playing this very game back when Emerald on the GBA. That is just factually incorrect. 10 years ago, we were playing Pokemon Black and White 2 on the Nintendo DS. And we weren't that far away from playing X and Y on the 3DS, which is just really fucks with me. Because when I think of 10 years ago, I don't think of myself as a 15-year-old. I think of myself as an 8-year-old. Still. And I very much doubt that's going to change anytime soon. Honestly, I'm kind of stuck there, I feel. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, or it doesn't matter. The subbar as a meta grows, it's literally not going to matter. But that's the thing that I talked about the other day with some people in a group chat, where we're yeah, okay, 10 years ago, we're talking about song parodies we listened to in high school. And that was the first year of high school. And I said, you want to know a funny thing? All these song parodies we're talking about right now, those are more than 10 years old at this point. Because we listened to them in the first year of high school. High school was 5 years for me. Then college was 4.5 years for me. I think that's right. And then it's been 3 years since I've graduated college. So that's 12 years ago at this point, the first year of high school. And that's just insane to me. Also the fact that I have been an actual adult for 3 years. I'm not at school. I graduated college. It's been 3 years at this point, and that's just almost anyway. And that is just stupid, because it feels like it hasn't been that long, and it's real weird. Also, greetings programs, indeed. I know there's a beating a dead horse. Well, I guess I need to re-randomize. I guess it's a little bit of a beating of a dead horse, right? Because, yeah, we know at this point... But, I don't... nothing can learn surf. So actually, yeah, something can learn surf. It's just that. Can fainted Pokemon use surf outside of battle? This really feels like something I should know. Okay, you can. Really feels like something I should just know. But apparently you can. So that's a very quick yes. That means that the streaming delay is actually really low. Which is neat. I was also thinking the other day that the reason I switched... One of the reasons. I don't want to say the reason. This is just like, yeah, that I don't have to do anything in my Empire other than that first floor. It's a lot more clear what the path you want to take is in this version compared to the remake. That's one of the reasons I, back in the day, decided to switch to YouTube streaming rather than Twitch streaming, is that Twitch, the way it works is with like relay servers and stuff like that, it's very region based. So if there's only one person in America watching, and I'm streaming from Europe, it's going to be like very glitchy. Well, not very glitchy. It's going to be very buffery, very long delay because it doesn't want to allocate a lot of like physical resources over in the States for encoding like my stream, which makes sense to a certain extent. I get that, but it's very annoying because that means that with a very low viewership, you can literally only like stream in a couple 100-kilometer radius around where you actually live and have it be a good experience, which is kind of annoying. It doesn't seem to be as big of a deal anymore, so maybe Twitch... I think back when I streamed on Twitch before, they hadn't even been bought out by Amazon yet. So maybe the Amazon infrastructure has helped them out a lot. I don't know. What is this song? Oh, I also have 102 Dalmatia. Oh, that's probably not good for the YouTube revenue, is it? I mean, I don't have ads on these anyway on YouTube. Or on Twitch, for that matter, because I don't have Twitch affiliate yet. It's a very good question. What do you need for Twitch affiliate? This seemed overly easy. I remember this being a lot more difficult. Oh, now I actually have to go do the Team Magma thing. Do I have Fly? I do. Can anything learn Fly? A lot of things can, actually. I like the idea of just being able to give Fly to anything, because the moment I go into battle, it won't have Fly anymore anyway. Maybe... Let's go to Lilyco first, just so that I have the Pokemon Center to fly to. That seems like a good idea. I don't know, I think Twitch affiliate is fairly easy to get, so maybe that's not even that far away from me. Which doesn't really matter, because it's like 2 or 3 people watching at most at any given time, like once a week. I do want to go to twice a week. I have been thinking I'm going to keep doing once a week for this month. I think in June I'm going to upgrade that to... fuck that. I think in June I'm going to upgrade to twice a week, also including Wednesdays. Is what I'm thinking right now. Maybe not Wednesdays actually, because it's supposedly when I'm supposed to be recording a new podcast by day in the schedule. So maybe it's not going to be Wednesday. Wednesday is best for like spacing purposes, obviously. Can something learn? Fucking hell, nothing. Can Ursaring learn Surf? Nothing on my team can learn Surf, and it's kind of annoying. So maybe it won't be on Wednesdays. Not Magikarp is actually a Magikarp. We fucking done it. And it can learn Surf, so that's a positive as well. It's actually a Magikarp. Sooner or later it was gonna happen, right? Funny thing is Magikarp can't actually learn Surf. Kangaskhan can though. Sure, why not? So the thing is, I want to start streaming on... It's probably going to be... If not Wednesday, it's probably going to be Tuesday or Thursday. I don't know yet. I want to stream like non-Pokemon related things. For instance, I'm working on a Mario Sunshine. Well, it's more than a Mario Sunshine video, but it's also a Mario Sunshine video. I also got a message. Again, people always message me when I'm streaming. Never when I'm just like bored. I'm like, okay, somebody got something to do for me? Like, whatever. I need something. Never then. Always when I'm busy. So it's a video about 3D platformers that I'm working on right now, right? And for that I need to play through Mario Sunshine, also Spyro the Dragon. Presumably I would be fine playing only through the second one, because that's the one I'm going to be talking about most. I do think I just want the footage for Spyro 1 as well, because I'll probably mention a bit of it. I'll read those in a second, because that seems like it's not actually that difficult. I don't care. It's not that difficult to get those, I don't think. So that should be fine. So yeah, we have a Hat in Time and Mario Sunshine, 2 Spyro games, and I think I have one more game that I want to play through and I get footage for that specific video. And while I can do that on my own time, and I at least partly will, because it's, if I just like play 2 hours a week for recording purposes for that footage, it's not going to go very well either. But I mean, it'll just take a very long time, and I don't have that long to make that video, because that video should be going up in like July, I think, at the current rate of uploading. So what I'm thinking is to make sure I record at least 2 hours of footage a week, and then any time I have left more, and I can also like just do a little bit more streaming. I want to stream like a second day throughout the week, and now I can actually use Fly to well, to meet both those ends, really. Mario Sunshine would be the first one I'm playing through. It wouldn't be full playthroughs either. It would just be like smatterings of just playing random games. It's more like a reason to hang out and complain about life, really. And that probably would also go up on the YouTube channel as members exclusive content, so I don't know that for sure. Can I please get something that can fly? Surely Latios can fly. Yeah, you can. Good. Anyway, total streaming of 500 minutes in the last 30 days. That is like 10 hours would be 600 minutes. And I stream about 2 or so hours a week. A little less at the moment. But let's say that goes up to 3 hours a week. So that is... It's a real glitchy song. So let's say that's 3 hours a week. That's about 12 hours a month. So that's easily 500 minutes in 30 days. Right? That shouldn't be that big of a deal. How do we easily get to, I guess, Leverage Town, right? And then we go up the mountain? This is where we have to go, right? Or am I just being stupid at this point? An average of at least 3 or more concurrent viewers over the last 30 days. Yes, see, that is maybe going to be... That is probably going to be the most problematic part of this, because obviously I don't have that. And that's not something I can do much about. So that is probably going to be the thing that I get stuck on. I don't have strength. Where the hell do I get strength? No, seriously, where do you get strength? Huh. And then a minimum of 50 followers. I do have that. A minimum of 7 of the unique broadcast days in the last 30 days. So if I stream 2 days a week, that would also be fairly easily gained. So yeah, where do you get strength? It's a very good question that I do not have the answer to. Let me check. You will not make any noise, I hope. You don't. That's good. Pokemon Emerald Strength. In 14 steps, you can just show me... You can just show me where to get strength. That's all I need to know. Where finding HMO strength. Oh, it's the thing at the place. Yeah, the tunnel place. Well, I guess we better get fucking comfortable because we're going to be walking there. I think, unless we can just we can fly there. Is it that far? If we get something that can fly, we might as well. We got something that can fly. Let's fly. I don't know why I didn't get strength before. I honestly have no idea. Probably because it's very easy to miss. I think that must be it. And now I have to have something with rock smash. Okay, I'm probably going to wipe the floor with you. Yeah, except Beldum. I have grass type. Which doesn't have any grass type moves. Well, it has a grass type move, but none that damage. Because that would be too fucking nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'm very much starting to doubt the idea that we will be able to do the 7th and 8th gym today. If we can do the 7th gym, that'll be quite enough of an achievement, I think. Then again, I think after you do the 7th gym, there's not that much between the 7th and the 8th gym. You do go... Oh no, in Emerald you have to do the entire like Rayquaza thing as well, right? Yeah, no, it's gonna take a minute. It's gonna take a minute before we can actually get to the 8th gym. So that's maybe going to be next week. Is there gonna be is this the last stream for this series? No, we still have next week. So next week we can do the 8th gym and the Elite Four. Now I need Rock Smash, okay. That one I do have, because I actually needed it before. Didn't we just talk about Groudon? There we go. It's a Groudon. It literally doesn't matter, because it's going to be randomized anyway in a second. Now I need to teach something else, Rock Smash. That's... What are the odds of that? I didn't even move. I just looked in a different direction. Wait. Did you give me strength? I got strength. Okay, so let's go back now. It's a bit of a quick side quest to get strength. No big deal. This is very epic music for a game about puppies. Oh, there we go. That's more like what I was expecting. I don't know how like copyright happy Disney is on this game and this soundtrack. It's a very niche game, so I'm hoping that I'm fine, but I don't know for sure. There's a very good chance that this is gonna get either copyright claimed to hell or copyright struck. Probably not struck. I've been claimed on the Atlanta soundtrack before though, which also seems like it would be a fairly niche game, but it's apparently like not that niche that Disney doesn't care about it. I have a very bad mix of music. Can you tell? I just throw some things together and there's no like cohesion between the soundtracks at all. The only thing that I really took into account is that oftentimes I end up having a lot of orchestral music in my playlists. Because I end up throwing like a Final Fantasy soundtrack and then like 2 different Kingdom Hearts games. And then maybe like a Crash Bandicoot game, which is not orchestral, but that's going to be like an hour of music compared to like 3 Kingdom Hearts games, which altogether is like 12 hours of music. So it's mostly going to There's No Running from Zelda Bell. So altogether, you end up hearing mostly just orchestral music, which is fine. It's just sometimes a little bit of variation wouldn't hurt. So I'm trying to keep myself to only doing one game with like orchestral music for its soundtrack. And for today, that's going to be Final Fantasy IV, which is a fairly low energy soundtrack. By and large, I want to... Wow, you almost killed me. And you're literally burning anything on my path. Okay, that's amazing. Let's see the current objectives. Beating a magma hideout. I'm doing quite well so far about that. Watch the Aqua sub. Beat the team Aqua hideout. That's going to be a little bit more problematic. Beat the 7th gym. Find Kyogre. Get lost on the route to Sotopolis. That's the easiest one. Getting lost on the route to Sotopolis is my specialty, because holy fuck, it's a bad route. It's a real bad route. So that shouldn't be a problem. Find it. However, probably a big more of an issue. I'm not gonna lie. And go find Rayquaza. That also shouldn't be an issue. But then finding Sotopolis again. Actually, no, you can just fly to it, can't you? So that shouldn't be a problem either. Yeah, that would probably also just a bad idea as well. I don't know why I wanted to explode there. Yeah, probably a bad idea. I'm guessing we just keep on moving down. This is actually the place where I found my first ever shiny. I think every time I am in the Magma Hideout, I talk about this. But I don't know the exact square I found it. But I know the map I found it. It's the map we're on right now. That's why I'm talking about it. Oh, hello Rayquaza. You are just in time for me to absolutely demolish one Zubat. Thank you so much for that. I think it might have been like this exact tile where I found my first ever shiny Pokemon. It was a Geodude, obviously. Because I think that's literally the only thing you can run into here. Maybe there's Zubat in here? I don't think there's Zubat in here. Can we leech life? We can't leech life you with that. So the answer is no. In fact, we cannot leech life you. Leech your life? Is that how you say that? We might actually die here, and that is very sad. Because, hold on, why does Spinarak, whatever its name is, have an item? Did it turn into a Zigzagoon or something? It's a super potion. That might actually end up being useful. I'm probably going to die against the... Yeah, I'm definitely going to die against the Maxi fight. Just remember that that's a thing we have to do. We might not even get to the Maxi fight, honestly. Yeah, no, we ain't doing that. But Bob is going to help us with one water gun, but 2 water guns. And we only have 2 Pokemon left. This is going to be horrible. Let me check one thing real quickly. Okay, that's not important. Well, it is important, but not for right now. It was a Pokemon with pickup at some point. Okay, I didn't pay attention. I did see we had a Zigzagoon at some point, so I'm assuming that's when it got the item. So I've been walking around with a Super Potion holding a Pokemon for a while here. Wait, Slipper is a Croconaw again? Slipper just likes being a Croconaw, apparently. You can keep being a Croconaw if you really want to. I won't take that away from you. I'd very much like to have a Bob. Because Bob is king. Bob randomized into Bob? There was like... he just stayed a Croconaw? There was no other randomization in between. Huh. That's how much attention I'm paying. I just don't notice. The only time I notice what Pokemon are what is when I'm actually trying to switch out and see, like, do I have anything useful here? Yeah, so... if we get a bad randomization at any point in time... Actually, we can do this, I feel. Maybe not. We are just done, because we only have 1 alive Pokemon, which, admittedly, it's level 33, so it's decently leveled, but... and we have a Groudon. And what do you know? There you have a Groudon. And a Kyogre. Oh, that's amazing. I love that. That's great. I'd like to have some more of those kind of randomizations. Okay, let's see what Maxi turn... well, Maxi doesn't turn into anything, but what my Pokemon turns into for Maxi. It's a Misdreavus. It's a Misdreavus. Just kill me. Just fucking kill me. That's annoying. Because you refuse to fucking kill me. I'm going to lose either way, because I'm using a Misdreavus. Also, I am underleveled as hell. I thought I was not going to be underleveled for this. I forgot. Oh, yeah, last time we just got really lucky with our ice types against... I almost killed that Mightyena with a 4 levels underlevel. Oh, that's actually not that bad, because I can just use the wild Pokemon here to grind. With the ice apps, right, I got very lucky in the last episode. So let's go up to like level 35 for the entire team. That seems about right. Dizzy Punch just annihilates a Pikachu, apparently. Turns out Spinder, not a bad Pokemon. Yep, still kind of a bad Pokemon. Why should I get my hands when I can make it... Hands dirty. Okay, yeah. That's a real good point. The answer to that question being, because I can't kill myself on purpose. And, well, I can, but my Pokemon can't. So that then becomes a big problem when I just want to... Can you not, like, at least, like, oil your fucking car axle thing? I don't know anything about cars. I don't even know if you could hear that. You probably couldn't. There's this one dude that lives in the neighborhood here, which has a car when he drives away. It makes this very, like, high-pitched noise for quite a while as his wheels start turning. I assume that it just makes that noise the entire time while he's driving, but I only hear him ever, like, drive away. Then again, I don't really ever hear that noise when, like, he comes back. So either I'm never home when he comes back, which just seems unreasonable because I'm home, like, 90% of the time. Or it's only like a issue where it makes that sound when the car's been like stationary for a while or something. I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about cars. I just know that his car or her car, I don't even know if it's a man or a woman or anything in between for that matter. It just like makes a noise and I hate it because just much like getting messaged from like pretty much any reason during my recordings, this dude only drives away when I'm recording or streaming. It just always happens when it's like very inconvenient. It probably happens a lot during other times as well and I just don't notice. That's probably what's going on. Partly... What is this? Oh, that's Gex 3, okay. Well, partly with like the emails and stuff too, but there it's actually like, it might literally just be a timing thing. I mean, I can never know that I'm not going mad because I am actually like batshit insane. If you've not figured that out by now, I'm very sorry for you. We're all living in a simulation anyway, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter one bit. I've been listening to The Name of the Wind again, the audio book, because I needed something to listen to, and I'm like, yeah, I can listen to like this new podcast episode of any of these like 3 podcasts I loosely follow, or I can listen to the same book that I've listened to like 5 times already, which is like 24 hours of audiobook, literally. It's funny because the book takes place like in universe as a telling of a story within a day, but the actual audiobook itself is longer than 24 hours. Obviously, that's like nothing considered there while writing, but it's just a funny thing. I like it when glitches happen though. If we both get the code of the simulation, maybe we can get free and we can exit the Matrix and we can go to Zion. And then we can have superpowers outside of the Matrix as well, because we wrote ourselves kind of into a corner, and that's just... Are we going to do this? Are we going to complain about the Matrix sequels? Because I'm kind of game for that, because I hate the third one with a burning passion, because it's stupid. I actually quite like the second Matrix movie. It's not a bad movie. Yeah, the CG is dated. No shit. It's dated. It's a movie from like 2002 or something like that. What year did the Matrix 2 come out? It's insanely good CG for that time. Mostly because most of it isn't actually CG. It's just like very well-made prosthetics and stuff like that. But even the CG, it's pretty good. What Matrix Reloaded, right? Matrix Reloaded, 2003. That's really good CG for 2003. I'm just saying. I quite like The Matrix 2. Not as much as The Matrix 1. The Matrix 1 is actually the good movie in the series, and then you have like The Matrix 2, which is fine, and 3, which is just... We rather forget that ever happened, right? Oh, 3. Yeah, there we go. I don't know why people hate on The Matrix 2. Okay, no, that's not true. I know why people hate on The Matrix 2. Because it's... The thing the first Matrix movie did about like its philosophy... Because it's a very philosophical movie. And the philosophy in The Matrix 1 is... At certain points, kind of in your face, but in a way that like... Makes sense and feels... true, and not just like people sitting in a room full of monitors spouting out philosophical nonsense to each other while the audience sits at home or in the cinema going like, what? That is what is wrong with The Matrix 2. It's like specifically like the scene with the architect. That's The Matrix 2, right? That's not 3. I think that's 2. Yeah, that's definitely 2. When Neo meets the architect, like that scene pretty much sums up what's wrong with The Matrix 2. And it kind of does that a decent amount. Not too much. Not like it's not as bad as people make it out to be. And I quite like the idea that like Agent Smith has a bit of a more interesting role. Being like a freed AI. I think that could have been a... I don't know why I switched you up from thinking I was going to be able to use an Articuno. I keep making that mistake, it's stupid. But yeah, the whole freed AI thing is a very interesting concept that they don't really do much with, in my opinion. They could have done more with, I should say. So it's a bit of a lost opportunity. But hey, aren't they working on like a Matrix 4 or something like that? I heard something about that like last year. I don't know if that's still going on. I would be very much up for more Matrix stuff. Honestly. I don't know how they do it, because obviously they can't make an actual Matrix 4, because the story is over. Unless they're going the game theory route and they're like, no, actually, the real world was also a simulation, and now we have to get out of that simulation, because the Matrix was a simulation within a simulation. I don't want them to do that. Like, there was a fun game theory episode, don't make that the actual law, please. Thank God. I think they lost the plot when they introduced the city and physical battles between man and machine. You see, I still quite... Well, I don't know if I want to say quite like that. But I accepted that, because I was kind of a part of the first movie as well. It's just... And I honestly think that... Is that the Matrix 3 where all the Sentinels come in to the city and there's the one dude that just keeps on fucking shooting at them and gets ripped to fucking shreds? I think that's the Matrix 3. That's one of the better scenes from that movie, if that is the third one. I quite like the invasion scene Yeah, that has to be the third one, because the only reason everybody doesn't fucking die there is because Neo gives himself up. Those scenes I like. Frankly, The Matrix is kind of like... I see it as an action movie more so than like any kind of like high cinema. You can't see me doing the air quotes. I'm doing air quotes. Rather than any kind of high cinema or like narrative masterpiece, because if you're looking at it from that direction, even The Matrix 1 isn't that great. But as a fun action movie with an interesting premise, if you look at it that way, I think the trilogy as a whole stands up a little bit better. Still goes downhill, don't get me wrong. But in that regard, I think The Matrix 2 actually becomes a pretty good movie, and The Matrix 3 has good moments. Like, if you can just give me a decent action scene, I'll be pretty happy most of the time. Obviously, there needs to be some story going on as well, which is not idiotic. But I like Marvel, is what I'm saying. And at certain points, like, Marvel pulls out like at least one or two scenes a movie which are very, very well made. By and large, Marvel movies have very high production value, not necessarily very like deep cinematic masterpieces. Like I don't know which director said it a couple of years ago, where the MCU isn't cinema, and it was an entire it was a very big debate, which is just stupid. If you honestly believe the MCU isn't cinema, you're a film snob and way up your own ass. Because what is cinema at that point? If the MCU isn't cinema, please do define for me what cinema is. Because I think any definition you could come up with, I could argue at least like the majority of MCU movies. Obviously, there's bad MCU movies. There is. There's bad art house films as well. Doesn't mean that they're not cinema. I will die on this hill. This is an issue I have, right? Because it probably doesn't come as a surprise. Like, I do appreciate art to a certain extent, because I know people who like are like in the art space. I would consider myself to a certain extent an artist. But I also think that people who are like part of the art space, to just call it like that, oftentimes are a little up their own ass about it. And a little gatekeepy as well. And I don't like that. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, art is very fun and it makes you reflect, and it is a very important thing, in my opinion, to like be exposed to at least a little bit on a regular basis, just because it might make you reconsider some things about the way you look at the world and things like that. But at the end of the day, art is just, and I'm talking about like, I'm not talking about like drawing art. It's kind of like a issue with the English language there, where we've decided that these two words, which don't really have too much to do with each other, because art in general, like artistic expression in general, can be done through drawing. But why the hell is drawing, like, where does that also get to be called art and not just like drawing? Whereas like filmmaking or like maybe like clay sculpting, all that is also art, but they have a separate word for it, so why don't we just call drawing? Also annoys me. Anyway, at the end of the day, art is just entertainment for people who have like generally more money, is what it is. Like, art is generally just like richer entertainment. It's like it's not the be all and all that people make it out to be. Sometimes it's just entertainment. It's entertainment that makes you think, definitely, yeah. But I don't know. If you go to an art gallery, that is just a way to spend the afternoon, and certainly you can like be interested in thinking about a certain piece. You can be moved by a certain piece, definitely. But it's still, at the end of the day, entertainment. And in that regard, I do think that people who make that entertainment sometimes forget that they're just making entertainment for people who are pretentious and nothing more. And then when they start calling out other entertainment for not being art, I'm like, yeah, no, but you should just really fuck off. I don't know. It's definitely something that gets me very annoyed very easily. That's a rare candy. That's actually very nice to have. Level 37, right? I probably should have just picked a rare candy cheat or a experience multiplier cheat for this, because I'm so done grinding. I don't like grinding anymore. Feint Attack will be super effective. Obviously, the further we get into this, the easier it will become. I don't know. I didn't have any visuals there for a moment. I hope that I'm still streaming. It says I'm still streaming and it didn't give me like any pop-up issues, so that should be good. Anyway, that's my rant about art and entertainment and people who are pretentious and stuff like that. I would very much like to keep going on this train, but it'll literally be the rest of the stream me just complaining about that. So maybe we should try to move on to a different topic before I really go off. Thing is, okay, I have a topic, but it actually requires some user input. So maybe we can't go down any road there. But it is a thing that I was thinking about the other day. And I wanted to listen to what I'm saying, right? Don't think about anything. Just like try to clear your mind of all distractions in the world. Just listen to my voice, and when I say the next thing I'm going to say, I want you to stick to the first thing that comes to your mind. Not think, oh, answer A, and then a second later, oh, answer B makes more sense, so I'll go with answer B. No, I want you to stick with the first answer that comes up in your mind. Dog. What breed did you think of? I actually like this as a very interesting experiment, and I am convinced that if you put a psychologist on this, you can extrapolate some amount of information out of what people answer. Penguin. You know what? I'll take that. I'll take that. It's a thing that I didn't even see anywhere else. Usually when I talk about things on stream, or I just when I'm just babbling on, I'm mostly just reciting things that I've seen on the internet. This is actually a thing that I came up with on my own, and I quite like the idea of just making people what is the default image of a dog you have? Because for a lot of people, if you have a dog, it'll probably be the breed of dog that you own, I imagine. I don't have a dog. I don't know a lot of people with dogs. I mostly know people with cats. Which, that's an entirely different topic. I'll get to that in a moment. Because when somebody has a dog, I'll get to that right now, actually. When somebody has a dog, they're like, oh yeah, it's a mix of a Border Collie and a Labradoodle and whatever else. And I'm like, yeah, cool, it's a dog. When people have a cat, it's just like, yeah, that's my cat, he's an asshole. I've never heard anybody refer to their cat by their breed. Cat breeds are definitely a thing. I added a video about a specific cat breed, the Maine Coon. It's one of the biggest cat breeds, I think actually the biggest cat breed on average on Earth. It's native to America. It's a very popular house cat breed, apparently. Nobody ever refers to that cat with a breed at all. It's just cats. All cats are cats. While dogs, there's millions of different kinds of dogs and combination of dogs and whatever all. You start think of the first thing, penguin was what I got. You see, honestly, I think this could be a new version of the Rorschach test. Instead of giving people like just blobs of ink and telling me what do you see in this, just like it's word association, but with something that everybody like a standardized word association game. Just what is the first thing you think of as a dog? And obviously, like for psychological purposes, I already showed you why this probably isn't a great idea, because anybody who owns a dog is just going to give you the breed of their dog, probably. But for me, it's the first thing I think of is a blonde Labrador. Or a golden retriever. I can never, like, visually that comes up in my mind, and the issue with it being visual and not like linguistic is that when I look at that dog, I literally, if you put if you put them side to side, I can probably pick out which one is a golden retriever. But if you put a blonde Labrador picture in front of me and ask me, is this a Labrador or a golden retriever? I'd have to think about it for a moment, because those look very similar. Golden retriever is a little bit more fluffy, I think. Like a little longer head. So that would probably, like, after a minute of looking at it, I probably could figure it out, but it would be difficult. Mostly because I don't know all the way through. That's also a fair response to pretty much anything I say, really. There's so many different breeds of cat. I know, but nobody ever talks about that. They're all like, just it's a cat. Just it's a mini lion. Or a tiger or whatever. It's closer to a miniature tiger. Or like lynx, I suppose. Which in and of themselves are just miniature tigers. Ask me about ask me about dogs. I'll probably say one of the several breeds. Lab, Husky, German Shepherd and Great Dane. I think all of those are acceptable answers. I think Lab is probably the most common answer. I haven't run any tests to prove this in any meaningful way, but I would assume that Lab is probably one of the most common answers, at least in the Western world. I don't know how, like in Asia or African countries, how maybe culturally like dogs are different. I mean, I know in Asian countries dogs are different because they end up on a menu more, right? That's a thing. Is that racist to say? Is that like a racist stereotype? I think that's just actually the case, and that's... Honestly, I'm kind of fine with that, because we eat pigs, and pigs are so much more intelligent than dogs. Like, from a moral perspective, I think it's a lot more ethical to eat a dog than it is to eat a pig. Then again, pigs do have a lot more, like, meat on them, so... There's an argument to be made there, I suppose. You raise a lab right and they're just goofy idiots. That's just dogs in general. But that does seem very true, though. They make for great TikTok dogs, is what I'm thinking about. It's a Shuppet versus a Shuppet. It's not going to go well, is it? Actually, it's not that bad at all. Anyway, so I think Lab would be the default answer for most people. What other answers did you give? You gave me a Husky. Also totally acceptable, because Huskies are awesome. Also, a lot of the time, I don't know if this is like a breed thing or if it's a different like sub-breed of Husky, but Huskies often, like very often, seem to have heterochromia, right? They often have a brown and a blue eye. And while I'm not actually sure whether or not there's like any... Probably is. Is there any downside to having heterochromia? Other than the fact that it's usually like a result of incest? Like, aside from the fact that it's usually a result of like inbreeding, and as such it probably means that you have more genetic defects than just heterochromia. Heterochromia on its own, does that like impact your vision at all, like your eyesight? Because if it doesn't, it's awesome. It looks real neat. I like the look of it. And that by itself elevates Huskies in how awesome they are, at least a bit. Then we have German Shepherd. I would argue also a very vanilla dog. It's a very natural looking dog. I say natural looking because it's very not natural. It's still like bred the hell out of it. Nothing natural about any kind of dog race or breed at all. I think Great Dane probably is the most unique answer you gave. Not to say that that's an unacceptable answer. I just think that the other ones are several like gradations of default answers, and that's kind of the answers I was looking for, specifically Lab, but also German Shepherd. And I didn't even think about the Husky, honestly, but once you said it, I was like, yeah, no, that one also seems about right. But yeah, that's my dog question. I have a document. Hold on, I have a document of things to talk about. I probably shouldn't look at this live. I probably should have looked at this before and just remembered. But you know what? It's been a long week. Give me a fucking break. That's the great thing about also developing this podcast I'm doing, which is literally just like the same kind of rambling as I do here, but with like another person. So I can reuse topics, and I can, even better yet, I can practice topics. That's the real good shit. Yeah, so that's where I noted down that what's the default dog, because I want to talk about that on that show as well at some point. It's probably not going to be a very lengthy discussion there. But we also have... Did I talk about this on stream yet? Because this is a very interesting... Okay, so we're going to talk about this. If I've talked about this before, please do feel free to stop me and just tell me to shut the fuck up. But there is this thing that happens in fiction a lot, where a character will know something that they have no reason to know. And in my mind, I refer to that as freedom of information. That is... I mean, freedom of information literally like is a concept, and it's not that. I need to come up with a better name of it. But it's pretty much making sure that your characters all have access to their own unique pool of information as a writer, rather than the characters just knowing what the reader or the viewer or the audience or whatever knows. Because that happens quite a lot. And I found a very decent example. And an example that's also excusable at the same time. Because I understand that if you stick to that 100%, it's going to be very annoying. And like there's going to be a lot of exposition happening for character sakes rather than the audience sake. And you should never do that. Obviously, you want to expose... Exposition dump, expose, whatever. Mostly just for your audience. If your audience already knows something, you don't want to have to explain things to other characters on screen, because that's just a waste of fucking time. Heterochromia as applied to humans can either be... Wait, I don't understand what that says. Or is linked to an alarming number of conditions. So, what you're saying is that I, as a human, probably shouldn't... I mean, I can't go out and get it. So, there's... But what you're saying is that if a human has it, it's probably like... There's probably some stuff wrong. It's not just cool eye colors. Anyway, going back to my example. In Avengers Infinity War, it's an example that I like to use. When Bruce comes back to Earth, he's been away since Age of Ultron, meaning that Civil War, he has no idea about. Even more so, in Civil War, they refer to Bruce as, I wish he were here, and then I think Natasha said, do you really think he would be on our side? So they even make reference to the fact that Bruce isn't on Earth at that point. You have the whole fight in New York where Tony leaves Earth, and then Bruce picks up the phone and calls Steve. And then at the Avengers HQ compound, when the B team of Avengers, I don't know why I want to go back to the Pac-Man Center today, where the B team of Avengers catch up and stuff like that with Bruce and Rhodey and everybody like that. Somebody mentions, can't we ask Ant-Man or Spider-Man, one way or the other. I think they say Ant-Man. And Bruce goes there's an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man? And that's a funny little joke, and it's a throwaway line. It shows you Bruce is not up to speed about everything that's happened on Earth, and he's going to have to, be briefed, pretty much, right? But the issue is, Bruce doesn't know who Spider-Man is either. There is a chance that he, found out while the fight was going on in New York, but what was really happening there is Bruce was trying to turn into the Hulk, didn't work, gets sent into a park, then Peter shows up, fights around a little bit, and goes with Tony into space. There's no way in hell that he got any kind of introduction towards Peter. So that Bruce has no business knowing who the hell Spider-Man is. And for the purposes of that scene, for the purposes of that joke, I understand that they just went with it, right? Because it does make for a better audience experience there. But, on the other hand, I was also, as I talked about a few weeks ago, I was rewatching the entire Harry Potter series. And after I did that, I figured, you know what, let's watch the two Fantastic Beasts movies as well, because the first one is fun and the second one is fun to hate. And it's really bad. But at some point, Newt just goes, Tina, we gotta go to the French Ministry of Magic. There's a box in there which can tell us who Credence really is. How the fuck does Newt know that? He didn't even go to Paris for anything to do with Credence. He turned down Dumbledore, who asked him to go to Paris for Credence. He only went to Paris after he figured out, oh shit, Tina's in Paris and she's mad at me. So I probably should go explain things to her. That's the reason he goes to fucking Paris. How the hell does he know about that box? At least at that point, show us a scene where he finds out or somebody tells him or whatever, right? You know what we're gonna do? I'm kind of sick and tired of training at this point. Magic. That is honestly probably the only answer there. Do we have anything with fly? Do we? No, we don't. But it's a thing that happens a lot in fiction, and it's become a bit of a pet peeve of mine, where people just know things they shouldn't know, and sometimes that's for the benefit of the audience, but sometimes it just straight up doesn't make sense, and it's hella annoying. So I'm trying to figure out a couple more of those examples, and then maybe eventually either talk about it a little bit more in depth in that podcast I was talking about before, or I will actually end up needing strength. We'll actually end up making a video about this topic, which the only issue with that is that it doesn't really work. Oh, I have a bob. Nice. It doesn't really work with what my channel is about, which is mostly gaming related. I am steering a little bit more towards video essays and editorial content in the next couple of months, because I've been working on the What is a Game video, and then on the Mario Sunshine is not a 3D platformer video, which is just, yeah, it's very clickbaity, but also true. So maybe if that type of content like happens a little bit more on the channel, it would fit in a bit better to do a video about something that's not gaming related, but is writing related. Something like that, I don't know. It is a topic that I very much would like to explore, but I need to do a little bit more research on what other people have maybe already written about this. Because so far everything that I've said has only been my own observations. It has been no like other articles I've read about this, which I probably should do before making a video on it, if I do. So I don't know how well documented this phenomenon is, honestly. I feel like it's something most people don't really give a shit about. I would very much like... Actually, no. Having Shedinja for the fight which starts with a Mardiana is a real bad idea. So I'm glad that I didn't get that randomization against Maxi. Okay, let's try this again. Aurora Beam does about a third. That should be not too bad. Wait, Vlogger Games, hello, Vlogger Games Entertainment. What the hell? Rebrand and going goodbye. Oh, Vlogger Entertainment. I thought that Vlogger Games Entertainment. I thought it was a message from Twitch. I was thoroughly confused there for a second. I'm not gonna lie. Wait a second. I have Shirko. Ooh, dead. Fuck. I don't think Vlogger Entertainment really has the same ring to it. But and at this point, like the screen name Vlogger has been so ingrained in like everybody's minds, but especially my own, that I feel like I can't really step away from that anymore, even if I wanted to. And even if so, I don't know what I would change it to. I mean, I did do the rebrand. Well, I didn't really do a rebrand. I made a separate channel called the Retro Cave for retrospectives, because I wanted to try to like start from zero. That didn't really end up working out too well. So I figured let's just keep doing it on Vlogger Games. But the Retro Cave was a very... I think that was very like nice branding from a naming perspective. But I think if I would ever like do a proper rebrand, I probably wouldn't do it until I am like at least a number of videos into a different style like that. And can be sure that that style actually ends up... I'm gonna die. I have a... Wait a second. Hold on. Not what I wanted to do. Revive. Let's revive Mod Magikarp. But I'd probably get rid of the Vlogger name if I were ever to do a proper rebrand, because I think it works for Vlogger Games just because it's what I've been for so goddamn long that at this point it's just like, okay, sure. That's Aurora Beam. That was not enough. If you heal at this point... Ah, god damn it. God damn it. I have a max potion. I should be able to live a wing attack. Another wing attack. Don't hit yourself. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Live a wing... Live it. Don't hurt... Ah, damn it. We can do this. No problem. We can do this. It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. Anyway, I've been trying to get to this point for like at least 5 minutes now. I'd probably do away with the Vlogger name if I were to rebrand, because I don't think it really works. If I'm yeeting the name that I've been using so long, I'm absolutely like yeeting it entirely. I'm not sticking with like half of it. Most of my team can learn strength. Okay, sure. And but I don't think I will end up doing that, to be honest, because it's just a name at the end of the day. And if I want to change the name, it's gotta be something that's a lot more like, I don't know. I want to say a lot more generic, but at the same time also a lot more unique, if that makes any sense. And it's not even about the naming and the branding. It's also about like the type of contents I make. And if I make a lot of contents about like game design and things like that, and like gameplay design and game level design and stuff like that, which I'm working on right now, still making a video about writing doesn't really like, yeah, the type of video, which would be like more editorial, would be closer to it. But still, the topic of the video would be so far out from what I usually do that I probably wouldn't end up actually doing the video on the freedom of information thing that I've been talking about. Which is a very roundabout way of saying I have this very neat idea for a discussion, but I don't really have a proper platform at the moment to have that discussion on. So that's why I'm talking about it on Twitch, because I need something to talk about, I suppose. This should actually be fairly easily done, in theory. The reason, by the way, is did you add me in that message, or is that just... I think Twitch just highlights when somebody uses your username in the chat. Is that right? That seems right. What doesn't seem right is the fact that I'm going to get my ass handed to me here again. Or am I? Don't hate yourself. That's my Diana dealt with. Crobat is going to be... maybe not that big of an issue, actually. Because we have... What is more powerful? Probably Psywave, right? Because your special defense is probably lower than your physical. But you're also... Your bite is super effective. Yeah, that didn't go well. Maybe Dom can do something with... Yeah, we're gonna lose. We need to do more grinding. We do need to do more grinding. Remember when I said we might be able to get to the 7th gym today? I'm starting to doubt that. Roll out! Roll out! Confusion. But roll out. But fucking... I've been hitting myself in confusion too much. Like, an unrealistic amount. Oh yeah, I can quick attack. Like twice. Okay, we'll do some more grinding. Fine. Wait, what are the levels of the Geodude in this area? It's... Oh no, that's actually not great. No, that's not great. Can I do the Magma base first? Because if I can just fight some the Aqua base, I mean... no, I probably can't. Oh, I need to randomize something here. No, I probably can't. So I need to do this first. Which is annoying, because I'm kind of stuck. kind of real stuck. I'm going to be flying on a Wingull though, so that makes things a lot better. I watched a game theory video on Pokemon not being able to fly the other day, which is the end of that story, really. This is no more elaboration needed. 35 across the board should be fine though. I mean, yeah, I know that Crobat is level 38, but if everything is 35, I should be fine. The reason that I'm saying that is even getting to 35 is kind of painful against these wild Pokemon. And I don't really have any other... Oh, fucking hell. I don't even have any other trainers I can really face, I think. So... yeah, it's just a bad matchup. That seems a lot better. It isn't, because I'm paralyzed now. Which, that sticks through battles, I think? Yes, it does. Fucking hell. So, what else am I going to complain about? Because we've got like 40 minutes. Yeah, I'm definitely... If I'm beating Maxi today, I can fight May. I can fight May. I forgot about that. I can fight May. At least we can do something today. If I can fight Maxi today, I'll be very happy. I don't think we're going to be doing anything more than just the Maxi fight, to be honest with you. You have a rock type move, right? Yeah, you do. There's no way we're making it to Tate and Lisa. And even if we make it to Tate and Lisa, there's no way we're making it past Tate and Lisa. Yeah, that's not very effective. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. What do? Maybe you have wing attack? Maybe? That would be nice. No, but you have whirlwind, so I can deal with Ludicolo later. There's not really a way of fixing the problem. As much as just, I'll figure it out later. But hey, figuring it out later, it might give me inspiration, is all I'm saying. Other question. I know the answer, it's just because leveling. But what in the... Fucking hell. What in the world are you going to do? I definitely should just use Trash from the beginning. With a Sandstorm attack on a Pokemon that also has Sandstream? That just doesn't seem very productive. Okay, you bulk up, sure. She's gonna Rock Slide the shit out of you. Yeah, it's not good. Never mind, you're dead. Doesn't matter. Okay. What are you willing to bet? That on my first lottery ticket, I get a Master Ball. Don't know what this is, but definitely gonna skip it. It probably doesn't. Yeah, no. Would have been funny if we got a Master Ball on the first try. Well, that's other weather moves and way switching twice. I guess that makes sense. Is it a thing people actually do on like competitive teams as well? Like if you have a Sand team, you have Sandstream, but also like Sandstorm on the same Pokemon? Or do you have Sandstorm on a different Pokemon? Just so that if your Sandstream Pokemon dies, you can still set up Sand. Are weather teams still like a thing in Gen 8? Is that a thing that still happens a lot? Probably not on the same one. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like weather teams really are like a Gen 5 thing, honestly. That might just be because Gen 5, start of Gen 6 is where I play Pokemon competitively the most. And I haven't really done anything since Gen 7 or 8 competitively. I've done Pokemon Showdown scoreboard, but let's be honest, that's not very competitive. Tyrogue level 30 only has Tackle? What? I think so, old players, old strats. Yeah, but you have all these terrain moves these days, which seem like they're weather, but better? I don't know. Seems, Maybe they're not bad. I don't know. It just... I don't know what they do, so they're always very effective against me specifically. Because when they get set up, I don't know how to... like, switch into a Pokemon in such a way that my opponent can't take advantage of it. Or maybe even that I can also take advantage of it. Because that's the thing with, like, these terrain moves and weather moves as well, is... you can take advantage of it if your team allows it. So the strat didn't leave, it just evolved. That's fair. Much like Mega Evolution. Didn't leave, just evolved into Dynamaxing, which is significantly less interesting. I will die on this hill. I don't mind Dynamaxing, But I do mind the fact that they took out Mega Evolution because of it. And you can't tell me otherwise. You can't tell me taking out Mega Evolution and introducing Dynamaxing were unrelated. Those were two very related events. I refuse to accept any other way. Okay, those were taken out both in Gen 8, right? Like, that both happened in Gen 8. Mega Evolutions were still in Gen 7, I think. I don't know Gen 7 well enough to be very sure on that, honestly. I'm fairly sure there were still... Like, there were no new ones, but they were available in Gen 7. Gigantamaxing is fine. Dynamaxing is boring. That's a fine way to put it. That is a fine way to put it. I mean, they're for 95% they're the same mechanic. Because it's just like... Gigantamaxing doesn't change your stats in any meaningful way, right? Like, compared to Dynamaxing. If I have a Dynamax Eevee, it's just the first Pokemon that I know it has a G-Max form, so stick with me here. If I have a Dynamax Eevee and a Gigantamax Eevee, they have the same stats, right? It's not like the Gigantamax Eevee is going to get a boost to attacking. But yeah, exactly. G-Max has a nice visual change, and I do appreciate that a lot. As well as, actually, they do get better moves. Like, the Gigantamax moves are slightly better than the Dynamax moves. So that is an actual like gameplay advantage for Gigantamax over Dynamax. But just like making a Pokemon big doesn't seem that interesting to me in general. So I agree with you. The mechanic really should have just been Gigantamaxing, and that's it. But I don't know why they didn't do that. I honestly don't. Because maybe because it would have been too close to Mega Evolution, and people would have bitched even more about it replacing Mega Evolution. But I might have been more fine with it if it was a straight up replacement for Mega Evolution, honestly. I probably still would have hated it, because I like Mega Evolution a lot. I think Mega Evolution... This is probably not going to give me a lot of friends. I think Mega Evolution is the best feature they ever introduced into Pokemon behind the physical special split. I don't know. Held items also are a very big thing, actually. Okay, so it might be the third best feature they've ever introduced. Physical special split, held items. Well, I'd say held items are more important. Held items, physical special split, and Mega Evolution. In that order. 3 most important updates to the Pokemon mechanics ever, and they took one of them out. Because it was a gimmick. It wasn't a core mechanic. It was a fucking gimmick, apparently. And I'm not okay with that. Very not okay with that. It would have been fine if it was only G-Max and the raids are the only time you see Big Mon Dynamite. That is also a really good point. So what the hell is this? Oh, that's Fabule. Okay. That's also a really good point. You could just have Dynamaxing be limited to raids. There's so many ways they could have gone about doing this, which were better. But that's Gen 8 in general for me. There's a lot of things they could have done better. I give Gen 8 a hard time, I know. But that's because it deserves it, mostly. But it's not like... It's not like the games are like actually offensive. It's just... For literally the biggest media franchise on Earth... The main thing the entire IP is based on, which are the games. Yeah, I know the anime and the TCG are very big moneymakers in their own rights. But the games are centered to Pokemon. Like, if the games were to stop being produced, the anime and TCG could probably keep going. They could probably, like, introduce a Gen 9 without a video game. But I think by the time you get to like Gen 11 or 12, Pokemon would be, well, not dead, but it wouldn't have the same place it has these days. The way everything connects back into the video game, I think is very central to the marketing empire they have built upon this series. And for that cornerstone of their brand, and not to give it a good enough budget, because don't get me wrong, I do not blame Game Freak for the lackluster product we get with Gen 8. I 100% blame the Pokemon Company for just not allocating them enough budget. And this is also something I've talked about plenty of times before, but there is no reason that this game shouldn't have had a much, much bigger budget than it did. And actually have been a good game. Because when the game, again, the cornerstone of their branding, I would argue, when the game performs poorly, their entire branding suffers from it. I don't know sales numbers, but I would be willing to bet that their sales for anime DVDs, Blu-rays, whatever, TCG cards, all that jazz, merchandise as well, I would be willing to bet that their sales of those products go down somewhat proportional to the reception of their latest game. I have no data to back this up, but I'm willing to place a decent bet on that concept. Meaning that, yeah, maybe if they doubled the budget of Sword and Shield itself wouldn't have made back that money. But the improvement of the brand image and recognizability and all that kind of jazz would have made them that money back in the rest of their Pokemon empire. Again, based on nothing other than my own philosophy, I guess. I would be very interested to see those numbers, by the way, if they are publicly available. Which I don't know. Is Nintendo a publicly traded company? Because if it is, those numbers should just be available to find. And if they are, it's probably not a bad idea to invest in some Nintendo before those Legend of Arceus games come out. Just saying. Anyway, I think if you're going to introduce a mechanic, it should be a feature of every game going forward. If it's even if it's reduced capacity, it should at least be available, right? And maybe it's just that Gen 8 was the total shitstorm where everything got just yeeted at the same time. Because they got rid of Mega Evolution, they got rid of half the national decks, which at this point, most of that's been restored, but still. If they didn't get rid of both, 400 or so Pokemon, as well as Mega Evolution, if it was one or the other, that probably would have been better. But especially the combination of those really leads me to believe that that was a just development crunch decision. Which again, would have been solved by just allocating a decent budget to the game. But do it like the games after X and Y, where you can just go out of your way and try to go get these Mega Evolutions. They're not part of the game necessarily, but they're available in post-game. And that's all that there needs to be. I don't need to have a Mega Blaziken going through Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. But I would very much like to have the opportunity to have my Blaziken go Mega Blaziken in the post-game. And in competitive use and stuff like that. Especially major impacts on the franchise. Like Mega Evolution, they really pushed that very hard. And now that they have not included it in one game, it's going to be real weird if they re-include it in the next game. So, as far as I can tell, that feature is just gone. That's not going to come back. Until a eventual Gen 6 remake, at which point presumably they have to bring it back, because the entire story of the goddamn games is based on it. I would not care about Pokemon without the games. If they stopped making them, I'd slowly become a crazy old man in the corner that shouts at kids. Back in my day, we had video games for Pokemon, and it wasn't great. Exactly. Like, I know that's anecdotal evidence because it's literally one person in Twitch chat saying that you agree with me. But I do think a lot of people, like, if Pokemon didn't have games or only had bad games, I think the Pokemon brand as a whole would suffer very, very badly from that. I'd imagine it was the 25 to 35 year olds that dictate how well the Game Freak does year to year. That's mostly due to the games. That's a very hard thing. I do think that we, as like grown-up Pokemon fans, do tend to underestimate how many sales of Pokemon games actually do go to children. Which again, I have no basis to believe this on any statistical level. But I do think that it's very easy to think, oh, I'm a 20-something-year-old playing Pokemon because I did that when I was a kid, so presumably a lot of that happens. And yeah, a lot of that does happen, but there's a lot of Pokemon sales. And I do think that a decent amount of that, maybe not a majority, but at least a plurality of that sales goes to like kids up to like 16. If you want to count up to 16 as kids, which for this example, because it helps my case, let's do that. That's just not a great matchup, is it? Let's run. Oh yeah, we can. That's fair. Yeah, if you, I didn't. I might have misread that. That's part of what I'm thinking, right? Because we love it so much, and we're going to be playing it for ourselves. But also, like, I don't have kids. I'm probably not going to have kids because I fucking hate kids. Again, great trying to be a YouTuber if you hate kids. But I do think that a situation where a parent who like is around my age, bit older, who grew up on Gen 1, 2, 3, now has kids, which are old enough maybe to start playing Pokemon for the first time, they're like, okay, I can get my kid Pokemon Sword and myself Pokemon Shield and we'll be able to complete the decks that way. And I don't have to buy 2 games for myself. I am fairly certain that probably happens quite a lot. In the US, it's up until 18. Well, yeah, okay, it's up until 18 here too. It's weird because certain things, it's different thresholds, but things like voting and stuff like that is 18. There's been a real push over here for quite a number of years. To lower the voting age to 16, which I think is a very difficult thing to think about, because I don't think the average 16-year-old really thinks things through very well. But then again, I don't think the average 18-year-old does that either. So is that really an argument? At that point, should you be like increasing the voting age? Which probably not. In the end, it probably doesn't matter because it's mostly old people that go out voting anyway. But that's like a thing which people are thinking about. And it used to be that alcohol sales started at 16. It's now 18. It's been for about 10 years. But about 10 years ago, you could buy like alcohol as long as it's under a certain percentage if you were 16. And there still is a discrepancy there. I don't know how that works in America. Because I think the drinking age in America is 21, right? Is that different based on your states? I think that's like federal, right? Just like federal 21 everywhere. Here it's 18 for things like just beer and wine. I think everything under 8%, I'm pretty sure, is the cutoff point, is 18 euro and up. And if you want to get like strong liquor, it's 21 and up. But then financial independence, I think, is what they call it. is 23, which means if you get into debt as a 22-year-old, you are an adult, but your parents are still like legally liable for financial damages you make. They aren't anymore from the moment you're 23. That kind of stuff. So it's kind of split up here when you start being an adult. I think 23 is the last cutoff point where like you are literally like your own person and not linked to like any parent in any meaningful way. Does it make sense for a 16-year-old to vote and an 18-year-old at least has had basic education in our political system? That's a good argument. I do agree that 16-year-olds probably, giving them voting rights, probably not the best idea. But that's a bit of a hot take, honestly. Because there seems to be a very big portion of the population, at least over here, that does support the idea of 16-year-olds voting. And I'm like, if you really want to, I'm not going to like oppose you. Like, if it came down to a referendum, which have been, by the way, yeeted from our political system, referendums, that's an entirely different discussion, which I am not particularly happy about, and did inform the way I voted in our last election, because the party that was responsible for that wasn't going to get my vote. But if they did a referendum of 16-year-olds voting rights, yes, no, or I don't care, I would genuinely fill in the I don't care. Because I think it's probably a bad idea, but not to the point where I would actively vote against it. If that makes any sense. It's 21 to drink, yeah, that... Honestly, I think the later you... It's kind of complicated, because it's 21 to drink, but... Let's be honest here. How many people drink before they're 21? How many people drink before they're 18 or 16? I would imagine it's probably most people. So at that point, is it really like worth it to put on that ban if you allow it also like regulate it a little bit better and make sure that people like get to know these drugs, because alcohol, it is a drug. Let's not kid ourselves. Like more responsibly and know what they're doing and like be educated about it, rather than, oh no, you're not 21, so you're not supposed to be drinking that stuff, so it's not that big of a deal. Let's just not talk about it. Like 16-year-olds are getting drunk. I'm sorry to tell you. I think there's some state laws that have X requirements to drink either before or after your 21st birthday. Don't quote me on that. That does seem like... I mean, I'm not very well versed in American law, obviously. I'm not very well versed in Dutch law, beyond a basic level. I would actually argue that I probably know more about American law than... It's a shiny! Okay, I almost... Oh, do I have Pokeballs? Do I have Pokeballs? Do I have Pokeballs? I have... Okay, we're going to cheat here a little bit. This is what happens when you talk about politics. You run into a shiny fucking Wingull. Thunder Wave is definitely going to help. And then Thunder Shock probably shouldn't kill it. Thunder Shock killed it. Never mind. I'm going to focus on not losing you for a moment, so give me a moment. Hidden Power probably shouldn't kill it. Okay, so this should be capturable at this point. American law split into federal and state. Yeah, that is what gets me. But I am subscribed to Legal Eagle, so... I'm just going to call you Star. I'm subscribed to Legal Eagle, so in that regard I would argue that I probably know more about American law than I know about Dutch law, because I don't know that much specifically about things. But there's a lot of similar things. Like a lot of things end up being pretty much the same. Other than... Well, there's a lot of differences as well. Let's just put it at that. Most of which I am happy that we don't do it the American way. Okay, we have a shiny. I guess we just start leveling that shiny because it's a fucking shiny. Why did it? Wait, it is a shiny, right? Shininess does not. Yeah, shininess doesn't carry through the randomization. It's supposed to. Oh wow, that really fucking sucks. But going back to the whole law thing, because that is an interesting point to me. Isn't it generally the case that if a state law and federal law contradict each other, it's the federal law that, like, overrides it? Question mark. I was under the impression that that's how it works. It's probably a lot more complicated than that. It probably doesn't actually override it until, like, the Supreme Court decides that it does, is what I imagine actually ends up happening. But at least in that way, like, if there's a federal law against something, like, the states can't get away with too much egregious stuff because they'll get put into place. But you people live in a weird country as is. There's some real nice, cool things about America, like every media company ever, almost operating out of America at this point. But you guys also have a lot of very weird, fucked up stuff going on. Nowadays, it's far murkier than you'd think. The states still pass some funky shit of laws. I just get depressed when I think too much about America, and that's real bad because I like a lot of people that I know from America. I just don't like the country as a whole. Like it's honestly, like, politically speaking, I don't like it. Let's just say that, right? Because it's weird how you can be such a developed country and be so, number one, corrupt. Number two, like, being conservative or, like, right wing is one thing, but America is insane at the levels of, like, you've heard this a million times, but in any other developed country, we would probably be like, oh my god, we have a very right-wing government right now if we had President Joe Biden. And the fact that people in America are, honestly, I mean, I know that they're, like, very, like, they're extreme Republicans and stuff like that say that. It's not like the average American that says that. But people genuinely, like, feeling like there's a, like, radical leftist in the White House. I fucking wish there was. Because I'd sleep better at night knowing that America's being led by somebody who, like, isn't a fucking shit face. Anyway, that is, like, we're getting very political here. I'm very sorry. I know that you're not supposed to do that on the internet, but I do also think that is partly a charm of having, like, a very, like, small, intimate viewership base, is that you can get away with talking about these kind of things a little bit more. And I do think that it is a not unimportant thing that you can talk about, right? It's always, we shy away from, oh, that's political, or, like, it's about religion or stuff like that. We'll better not talk about it because we offend people. Like, yeah, okay, maybe people get offended, but if you don't talk about something because you're afraid of offending people, you're also limiting potential for, like, personal growth on both sides. I'm not just saying that I have the answers and I want to share that with people watching, but if I say something and it offends you, please do explain why. And then, of course, there's no obligation on my side to agree with that explanation then, but at least you can try to understand each other. And I think being afraid to offend each other is a... it's become a problematic thing on the internet. Anyway, don't look close at Florida's laws. I mean... It probably doesn't have anything directly to do with the laws, but more like the people that live there, and as a result, those kind of laws get created. But r/Florida Man is a subreddit for a reason. And I heard somebody say that the other day about America. It's like, America, just so you know how the rest of the world looks at you, you're our Florida. I fucking love that. Because it's true. America is the world's Florida. Just true. Who's radical and who isn't depends on who you ask. That is just straight up true. Like, it's all a matter of perspective. Like, if you put a very radical, like Trump supporter against, well, maybe bad example, but against a just a moderate normal person. They probably call them very radical, and the other way around as well. I would tend to agree with the not Trump supporting people, just in general, not only on this, but just in general. But both are valid viewpoints to a certain extent, as far as like radicalization goes. But if you are radicalized in any sort of way, other people seem radical. That is the issue. There's no real like answer or solution to this issue, because at the end of the day, like if you want to have the discussion, you're going to have a discussion about like objective truth, and that is just a very difficult topic to discuss properly, because at the end of the day, like, what is objective truth? What is this song? It's the Mafia Boss Big Showdown, okay. But what is objective truth, right? Like, what is objectivity? I would personally argue, like, repeatable scientific evidence is like, yeah, there is margin for error there, and there's going to be mistakes that are made, but somewhere you've got to draw the line. It's just, where do you draw that line? If something is not consistently repeatable, I personally would not see something as something objective and something to base actions and feelings on, personally. But that's just how I view things. It is the right way to view things, because that is how I view them. But I'd rather understand with a marker. Okay, so you do deserve to burn in hell for that? Because that is a real bad joke. I am laughing at it, so I guess it's not that bad after all. But honestly, if you draw in the sand with a marker, you do deserve to burn in hell. Because what the hell? What the hell? just straight up, what the hell? I'm going to try to beat Maxi one more time, because I just noticed that we've been live for an hour and 45 minutes. Literally just doing grinding and talking about politics. So I do apologize for that for the people on YouTube, because I've just been rambling. Well, I haven't just been talking about politics, but it's... I wanted to just touch on it lightly for like 5 minutes and then move on, but when I get started, and I don't fucking shut my mouth. It's kind of an issue sometimes. But again, as I talked about before, the idea that we're talking about like political stuff here, and you shouldn't do that, hush hush, I think that in and of itself is a taboo. That maybe we as the internet, just as a collective, might want to try to break through a little bit and like have some actual open conversation. And yeah, maybe sometimes you go over a line somewhere, but you'll never move a line if you don't accidentally step over it a bit. You don't want your... that makes me think. Sand and Pretty Colors. Have you ever seen those scent artists? I think it's like an art form from the Middle East or something. where they use different colors of sand to make a picture in like a glass, like a bottle or something like that, a vase. There's no other story to that other than I want one of those for like my channel logo or something like that. But I can only imagine that they are prohibitively expensive. Because it seems like something that takes a lot of manual labor to create. Also seems like something that takes a long time to learn how to do. It's very easy to mess up, I'm sure. Because if you just like bump it while you're working on it, surely it just all gets mixed up and you just have to restart the entire fucking thing. Right? Surely that's how that works? Okay, let's give it one final shot. If we don't beat Maxi here, we have accomplished exactly nothing in 2 hours of streaming. To make a legit picture, yeah, to make a mess of colors. Well, making a mess of colors is easy, because obviously... But even then, just making a mess of colors, just like noise, like a noisy texture, of course that's easy. It's just like putting in some sand, shaking it about, and you have a lot of like individually colored grains of sand. But there's very small grains of sand, so if you, without any like adherence to each other, mix them all together, it's probably just going to end up being a murky brown looking jar of sand, because presumably like the colors at least average out a little in your eyes because they're so small as grains of sand. So if you want to make like a colorful pattern or something like that, just like swirling colors, that's probably honestly more difficult than making a picture. I did catch a shiny, which then turned into a not shiny. This is a bad randomization. I'm not gonna lie. This is a pretty bad randomization. So maybe we start off with a not Magikarp and Double Edge seems maybe like a decent way to go because we can rest. And we can Psychic the Crobat. You probably have Magnitude or Earthquake. Yeah, you do. I just realized that. One turn too late. I call it Abstract Sand Art. That makes sense. I'll stick to 2D and 3D animation. Rather, I'll stick to 3D animation and 2D compositing. Which, all compositing is 2D. Because compositing is literally just putting two images together. That's literally the definition of what it is. What do? Maybe this will work because I'm a steel type? Okay, so maybe I didn't actually get that bad of a randomization here. I feel like we'll probably end up winning this one. If I don't get too unlucky with the confusion. Okay, there we go. We won. We accomplished something. Took us 2 hours to beat Maxi. It's kind of sad. I guess that means that we're not going to get to complete the entire game. Because there's no way next week we'll do the entirety of the rest of the game. Like, that ain't happening. So I guess our final goal probably is going to end up being beating the 7th gym. I would very much like being able to beat the 8th gym next week. But I kind of doubt it will even get that far, honestly. So let's go to... I'm going to fly, if I can, to Lily Cove. Just so that I remember where I'm at. Natsu can't learn fly. That actually makes sense. But then again, Pidgey can learn fly. So what the hell am I talking about things making sense? This has been a weird stream, dude. I've talked about so many weird random things. Some parts were like, what is your like default breed of dog? And then we're like American political system. It's weird. It's been a good one though. You could get hella lucky with your rolls. I could get very lucky with my rolls and just like steamroll through a couple of difficult fights, but then I still need to do grinding. And the issue is I can't grind one specific Pokemon, knowing that that's the Pokemon that I'm going to need, or two specific Pokemon, knowing that those are the Pokemon I'm going to need in the upcoming fight. Having 6 Pokemon at my disposal, randomly, is both a blessing and a curse. Because you pretty much always have something that's going to be good on your team. But it also means that you can't selectively grind, which is usually what I end up doing. Because if you know you're going to be facing Flannery, the Fire-type gym leader for instance, there's no use in grinding your grass Pokemon right now. You can grind that a little bit later against high level Pokemon when you need that Pokemon. But right now I need to grind my entire team for every single fight, and I do think that does slow things down significantly. So in that regard, it is a bit of a curse as well. And you did help. So thank you for watching, for hanging out, for answering my stupid questions about dogs, indulging my ramblings about politics. Because I didn't have any. I opened up the document. I opened up the document to talk about things, and I just ended up talking about politics and drinking ages and laws. And it all started with when we started talking about alcohol. That's where things went down. Bye. Just bye. I'll be back next week. See ya. Final Fantasy IV Prelude. I can play this song. I used to be able to play this song, I should say.